our number one seed, but we've already seen a number one seed fall today. And NRG Esports was the team that pushed Envy the most during the regular season. So I think we are definitely going to be seeing a great series. NRG Esports was also running something that was very scary yesterday, and that was Kevster on the Sombra.
Oh yeah, Kevster Sombra was a big reason why NRG are now in the semifinals, but now that they've taken a look at what Envy are bringing to the table, Envy, no surprises here as Reinhardt goats, NRG will also try and face them at their own game. This is pretty interesting. Now, Mirror, a very well-known and extremely good Zarya, will be picking up this Brigitte.
And so we're going to see our first engagement on the point, and Shrill's going to get taken very, very low, going to get bullied out of the fight very early, and Mirror's going to get that first blood for NRG Esports. The trades have started to happen. NRG still has a man advantage. Will Team Envy be able to overcome the numbers for themselves? But right now, NRG Esports in control, and this is a round on Oasis that you really want to grab that first point because it's so hard to flip it.
It holds true for all control-type maps, but particularly on City Center because the map is just so large. Once NRG hold this, they can simply play keep away and make it difficult for Envy to clean up the last straggling members to actually even just flip this point. However, ultimates are now close to coming online. Crimzo is first to that Transcendence.
Oh, and Trill's going to get that first blood anyway, so NRG Esports going to have to invest in a numbers disadvantage right now, doing both the Transcendence and the rally coming from NRG Esports and getting no casualties from a Team Envy. Ellieville has been demeched and is going to be able to get right back into that mech. That's a big deal for Team Envy. Sharp getting the better of his counterpart on NRG. Kevster, this is good for Team Envy, but we're seeing it right now how easy it is for the team that owns the point to stall it out. Already at 40% for NRG Esports, the Team Envy on the brink flipping.
Yeah, and the best news for Envy was they drew the trans out from Byram before things were all said and done. So now Sharp essentially has a free grab. If he's been counting those ultimates, he'll know, Envy will know that NRG are down that crucial Zen ult, and they can just grab with impunity, essentially. If that doesn't work, Shatter, Bomb are all up as well.
Here's that Graviton Surge coming in from Envy. They're trying to save their ultimates and keep them for the time being. They don't want to invest too much right now. They are going to get 2 kills, and Ellieville was smartly waiting to use that self-destruct, decided that it was necessary, but in the end, Trill did the job for him. Ellieville, someone that we're going to talk about a lot in today's game, because I think Trill gets a lot of the kind of upfrontness of Team Envy, right? They're the ones that we know. I was missing some words, but Ellieville is the most consistent one on this team, and he's definitely the backbone.
He is definitely one of those players that kind of ties things all together in that crucial role of off-tank, really making usage of the chaos from that Graviton Surge to get that bomb and zone energy away from the point. And now Envy have eclipsed them in terms of percentage.
And so the Earth Shatter's coming in from Trill, and that is a huge shatter, and the Overshield's not enough to keep Stand 1 alive. Team Envy are going to find themselves another advantageous fight. This is what we were expecting coming in here, this unbridled aggression, getting into the face of NRG Esports. Trill opening it up with that Earth Shatter, and it's a big one.
Exactly. Envy right now playing a very proactive game, which is what you need to do against a team like NRG, who are not afraid of going aggressive themselves. So if you give up that early advantage, cede a ton of space without putting pressure on NRG, you might just find yourself, picked off, because NRG have shown that they can definitely focus Trill down. They just haven't really gotten a good, clean engagement before dying themselves yet.
Here is going to use this rally to get them onto the pick. You see right now, Ellieville has the self-destruct. This is going to be enough for Envy and the Shutters.
Oh, that's a big bomb from Smex! Picks up those 3 kills, and that should be enough for NRG to flip this point, and it couldn't have come sooner. 99 to 42%.
This happens a fortnight or two. Every fortnight or two, Smex getting that triple kill bomb. And the reason why we say that is it always comes at the most important time. He gets triple kill bomb. He doesn't always get triple kill bombs. And when he does, it's when he's living a point or keeping his team in a round. That's exactly what we're seeing from NRG. As Byram, the only one with an ultimate coming into this next fight, Team Envy are completely okay with losing that last fight as NRG invested everything because Envy were about to win, and so Envy's still on the brink of winning this. They have the ultimates to do it, but we have already seen that this point can be stalled out for a very long time, so it's a true reality that Energy could get to 99% as well as the ultimates are coming through. Sharp's gonna get nothing from that. Graviton Surge, the Earth Shatter are gonna be going through. Kevster and Stand 1 onto the ground, and Ellieville gonna get the stun to Kevster, so it's a 65 for Team Envy, but this is not over yet.
No, indeed, Stand 1 barely alive, half health. He is getting field up, but it takes time, and that's what NRG don't have. Envy flip the point back from underneath NRG's feet, and now all they have to do is clean up the last desperate, straggling members of the NRG squad.
And that's exactly what they're doing. Flipping that point was the seal that they needed, Team Envy, to take this round. And NRG Esports is desperately trying to keep this round alive. Tracer can be the one to do it. And actually, NRG Esports are coming back. And the Earth Shatter from stand 1 did not make any real estate. Team Envy will be winning that out. They got close there at the end. And Tracer almost made it. So, you know, the rest of NRG could make it back onto the point. But alas, Team Envy do take this 1-0. We're going to be entering our second round here with Envy definitely in control of the momentum.
Yeah, the worrisome thing, if you're an Envy fan, though, is Trill going down so early in those initial fights. NRG obviously very capable of burning him down when they have that momentum and the positioning and preparation. So Envy just need to keep an eye out on their Reinhardt and protect those off angles so Kevster can't do too much damage to Envy, the tip of the Envy spear, which is Trill on that Reinhardt. So
Trill is that tip, like you said. He's leading the charge, and he is that, I believe, emotional leader as well of this team. A lot of their victories can be credited to Trill and Ellie, though, playing out of their minds along with a very, very stellar support line. NRG Esports have some good supports as well, but now that Kevster is on this Zarya, we're not really seeing that kind of energy that we saw from them yesterday with Kevster on the Sombra. That was really giving Square One a lot of fits, but Team Envy isn't Square One. They are Team Envy, and they might be able to deal with that a little bit better. We have yet to see it, as NRG Esports lose a member, are going to give this point to Team Envy.
Yeah, stand 1 really getting bullied by all of Envy there. Even though Trill was much lower health than NRG's Ryan, the rest of Envy, Ellibo was behind stand 1, peppering in those Diva tickle cannons, and all of that damage adds up. And now NRG have to make another difficult re-engagement and try and flip this point.
And so the utility barriers have already been down for Team Envy and NRG Esports. They're going to be waiting for those cooldowns to come through. If they go through at the same time, no one really had an advantage. The rally is going to try to even things up. Damage mitigation going for all 12 members on the field right now. That's going to go away. And now we're going to see the real ultimates come through. That's the Earth Shatter from NRG Esports to open things up. And they're going to take a really nice angle. Trill was not in a good spot to block that Shatter, but the Transcendence has to be used to save the rest of Team Envy. But that means Kevster is going to get a free grab. Will the sound barrier be enough of a counter to the Graviton Surge? With 5 members, Team Envy already losing this fight. So, Ellibo actually going to use that self-destruct. Sharp getting a kill. This is a 5v5. This is a pretty crazy fight. There's been a lot going on, but the number one thing to note is Kevster died with that grab, so there's not going to be a return grab coming from NRG Esports. And remember, we said Kevster had that grab. There were not a lot of resources for Team Envy to deal with it at the time.
No, I mean, Sharp grabs as well and gets knocked down to the lower floors almost immediately, but even so, you know, NRG have been forced back, and they need to make a re-engagement once again, and this has been where NRG have struggled the most, and they're looking at that one-fight territory now. If Team Envy rebuff them, they're not going to have another chance.
So NRG Esports are looking for a really big grab. They have to self-destruct combo as well. Will it mean anything? The answer is no for right now. Someone going to get 3 members of Team Envy on the ground with that Earth Shatter. Ellibo will get DMAX, and Byram getting that first blood for this fight. NRG Esports looking good, sitting pretty in an advantageous numbers position for themselves here on University. Team Envy are going to have to try to win this another way. They've got plenty of time, though.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to give up this point, you want to do it at that 99% mark. The scary thing, though, is NRG don't really have any tank ultimates to speak of, but they do hold on to both the trance and the sound barrier. They're going to need to use them more likely than not in this next fight, because Sharp is very close to his own grab. And NRG, let's see what you can do here. Can you apply that same pressure to Trill that you did in the opening rounds of City Center?
Yeah, and they played around Trill, making that Earth Shatter go past the shield and 3 members into Team Envy, but now we have trades going down, a Lucio and a Reinhardt. It's still a 5v5. Sharp going to go ahead and invest a Graviton Surge in this fight, and Team Envy somehow finding themselves some kills, but in the end, NRG Esports and their economy just coming out on top.
Yeah, both of the grabs flying here. You saw that Ellibo trying his best, but he was held against the wall, not really able to chip in for any damage. So NRG maintain control for now. That's 1 fight down, you know, a few more to go as they're just now starting to get to that 50% mark. But now that ultimate economy has largely been evened up. A support ultimate for each side, and no real grabs to speak of. However, Shatter Bomb combo has been extremely effective in the past. You can actually bomb first, break the shield, and then go for a free shatter.
And if Team Envy is tracking those ultimates, you can actually use the Transcendence of the tempo play. The Sound Barrier going to come out for NRG, and the Self-Destruct not going to be doing anything for Envy. Earthshatter going through Scanlan, not going to find anyone on the ground. Crimson does invest that Transcendence. Kevster is very far away from that Graviton Surge, so that is safe, as Trill going to get first blood for Team Envy. Remember, if Team Envy or NRG Esports win this fight right here, they will be winning the round, and Team Envy getting more casualties on NRG Esports. 2 members now down for NRG, and Team Envy looking good. They're so close to winning this out. They just need that overtime wick to defeat.
Exactly. Really difficult stuff here for NRG. They try and make the re-engagement. Big shatter right there from Trill. You can hear the screams of Kevster echoing across the universe. He gets taken for a ride with Trill's charge. And grab just for show here, as Team Envy will claim the very first map win here on Oasis.
Loving the energy both of these 2 teams are bringing to the table. And remember, Trill has to future predict that, right? He is on the ping, so he's also a seer to be able to get those Earth Shatters. But something that we did see during that game, at the very beginning of Oasis, Trill was isolated. They took him down, and that was the best look we saw Energy have throughout, the majority of that first round. We did see them come back on at University, but in the end, Team Envy take this 2-0.
Yeah, and a lot of you Envy fans will be like, of course, as expected. But I mean, NRG again, they were been looking ever so much stronger with Mirror's addition to the roster. I really hope to see that some more Sombra play coming from this team, because that's kind of that, pocket pick, that wrench that they might throw into the gears of this well-oiled Envy machine, because goats v goats, I don't really see them coming out on top.
Things can happen, though, throughout these maps. Playoffs are a totally different beast. A lot of teams will exceed expectations. Montreal Rebellion and Gladiators Legion, I think, have all exceeded those expectations. And other teams just kind of fizzle out, right? And in this situation, I'm not really seeing any fizzle from either side. We're seeing passion, we're seeing grit going into every single one of these fights, and I assume that we're going to see it going forward. I think in that Goats v Goats matchup, that's going to provide a lot of entertainment. In terms of who's going to come out on top, I definitely agree with you, Ham. Envy's been playing monster Goats all season. It's been super clean. We've talked about the grit. We've talked about the consistency, and Energy definitely showing a little bit more of that as time has gone on, specifically this week. But is it too little too late? We will see eventually at the end of the series.
We got to see if their peak will match the plateau, the current level that Envy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just gotta go bigger, man. It's always the solution. But I think, kind of something that Envy was able to do and adapt was they were like, well, you're trying to focus down our Rhine. Well, we're just going to focus your Rhine even harder. I mean, in that last fight on University, you essentially saw all 3 members of the tank line of Envy just get right on top of the NRG Rhine. Stand one. Poor guy, I mean, it's in his name, but both of his legs were just knocked right out from underneath him. There's very little that you can do as a Reinhardt against such pressure. So obviously, with that kind of aggression, you could be punished in turn, but NRG were just caught off guard by the aggressive tempo that Envy was taking during that fight. So hopefully we can see, maybe a little bit more adaptation.
Well, there's a lot of energy waiting for Envy to make a mistake there, right? They weren't being proactive at times, and let alone, you got to give credit for Envy. They weren't allowing them to be very proactive during moments of Oasis. But the reason why I bring that up is, you can be proactive and reactive in the way that you play. You do kind of want a mixture of both of those things for a really good fight. When you're always reacting, that means you're depending on the other team to make a mistake for you, and you don't want to give the control like that to the other team to help you, right?
I mean, and it makes you predictable as well. One of the crazy things about Mayhem Academy, and one of the things that brought them so much success through the season, was their ability to play both fast and slow, and whatever the tempo was, they played it cleanly. It never seemed like they were out of control. So if NRG are to overcome Envy here on King's Row, we got to see a little bit more of the same. And I bring up, Kevster's Sombra in particular because it's a hero that's so good on those linear maps, right? Hybrid and Escort in particular. Not only could that be a trump card for NRG, but with those swaps, it means that Mirror will move on to the Zarya in all likelihood, and Mirror has just some of the fattest Zarya plays we've ever seen.
You know, you can argue that it's an upgrade, and that's not to, you know, hate on Kevster at all, but Mirror is known on the Zarya. We are going to see this comp. So this comp dismantled Square One during their series last week yesterday. And so Team Envy, look at this, though. Just so everyone remembers, this is the newer patch, so we do have Batiste online. A lot of the displacement is there. We've got that true damage to armor for damage over time effects, and so this is that patch, and Team Envy on the attack. Thinking about it, but we probably will see a couple of changes go, and that's definitely a comp we're going to see more often on the defensive side.
Yeah, most likely. Baptiste works very well with those bunker-type comps, but Team Envy are on the attack. To do so, they would really like to utilize those volleys and Discord orbs from Crimzo's Zenyatta. Now, NRG on the defense here, they really want to generate that EMP very quickly. They'll probably be matching Envy in terms of those other support and tank ultimates, but this EMP could just win the fight outright for them if Kevster can get it online.
So the big thing about Kevster and why he was so successful in that last game is he was able to develop EMPs incredibly quickly. Will he be able to recreate that kind of success? Right now, NRG Esports showing their health bar is very, very low, but looking at Trill, it's the same story over for Team Envy. And right now, NRG Esports going to be giving a little bit of space. You tend to see these defensive teams do that while they're waiting for their cooldowns to come through, as Trill going to try to assert his dominance. He is hacked right now, so there was no shield. And even though Trill didn't have a shield, Ellie, though, Mr. Consistent right now, does get 2 kills, and they will be capturing the first win.
Look at Ellie Vote's positioning all during that fight. Every member of the Envy tank line was extremely low, but he wasn't going forward. He wasn't face tanking much of that damage. Instead, hanging back there, making sure to protect Crimzo and Fire and just keep Kevster from generating that EMP as quickly as he would have liked. And although Kevster now has that ultimate in hand, right, the timing is no longer there.
Well, and also there's no one to back it up. Is the EMP going to go through immediately? Jar is able to get that rally going, and Ellie Vote and Trill going to come out on. So this is a big thing when it comes to Envy. A lot of times we see those Sombras EMP and they just die. The opposing team just dies. Team Envy has been really good about dealing with those Sombras. What is the difference between the teams that are letting the Sombras walk over them and something that we just saw? The EMP goes through. It was only 2 people, but
yeah. I mean, one thing is, luckily Kevster wasn't able to hit more members of Envy, but you simply back off. There's not really a ton that you can do in that time. You try and put pressure on the Zarya and Wine of the opposing team, because the Sombra, you know, will not be in the body of the fight most likely. And Grav comes through now for Team Envy, and it is just pure, clean, surgical cleanup.
And so the cleanup is there for Team Envy. Mary Maids might be a sponsor in the future. And so NRG Esports still on the back, but there's an enormous amount of time for Team Envy to make it to this last point, and a beautiful stagger also takes place.
Yeah, not only does that mean NRG can't regroup for a full 6-man defense, it means Byram's not going to be generating much more ultimate sitting in respawn as he is. However, this is now NRG's best chance to finally find a defense. EMP is nearly up, and Mira can land this grab.
Sharp does not have grab, and so NRG Esports don't have to worry about that, but they have to worry about literally every other thing that Team Envy has at their disposal. But the grab coming is gonna get eaten by Ellie, though. The EMP tries to go through 4 members hack. Salmayer coming after, so this Sombra has been neutered so far here on King's Road. Team Envy having no problems at all dealing with the Sombra. The supports are coming through, so using that Transcendence to keep this tank line alive. Trill using that Earth Shatter to really lock this up. Team Envy looking strong right now.
Wow, just Mirror maybe getting a little bit too excited, too over-eager. Couldn't wait the extra 3 or 4 seconds for Kevster's EMP before launching that grab, and what a result. Ellie Vote gobbles it up, you know, as easily as you would down some breakfast cereal, and at that point, NRG are just in shambles. It's chaos. Byram and Pooks layer their support ultimates, right? It was very unlikely that they would have been able to stabilize that defense regardless, but this is not the NRG that we have grown used to in the last couple of weeks.
Just because you're going to lose a fight doesn't mean you should lose it dirtily, right? You still want to be clean. You want to do everything correctly. NRG Esports attempting to do that, but they have not been as successful even in that last round of dealing with Trill and Ellie Vote at this point. I think we should really talk more about Ellie Vote and everything that he is contributing to this team, because it's been all season.
I mean, he's kind of that bridge between the front line and, well, he's literally the bridge between the front line and the back line, right? As a D.Va player, you have to be able to do everything very well, right? Be constantly aware of your surroundings. Am I going to go forward and try and go for this boop and displace stand one? Or am I hanging back and just, spraying, spy checking, trying to take Kevster out of invis? What is the greatest priority? It really shows some excellent game sense coming from Elivo to be able to ride that line so cleanly. NRG, I don't know about this Orisa, but I would be curious to see if Kevster gives this Sombra another try. The thing with Sombra comps is it does require a very proactive hand. You need to be the one actively looking for those hacks, trying to pepper in that damage, because otherwise you aren't going to be playing with the majority of your team most of the time, and Team Envy will take that 5v6 any day of the week and twice on Sundays.
And so Kevster's already taken out of that stealth, so he's going to have to just pepper in some damage right here in the shield before he can actually take a nice position. Fire is actually going to try to take him out. That was beautiful coming from Team Envy. Kevster comes out of stealth, and Team Envy does not let that mosquito get away.
Exactly. No respect shown at all. A lot of teams would maybe wait back on their heels. Hey, what is he going to do? He's going to translocate out. Maybe he's just going to stop shooting us. No. Team Envy surge in. Jaru takes that Sombra right out, and Kevster now 20% to EMP, trailing his honor.
Yeah, and this is something that was not the same. I want to bring back last round because NRG Esports, Kevster, in one fight got 80% of the EMP. He's barely hitting 40 right now. Team Envy is barely letting NRG Esports get out of spawn.
This is a pretty dangerous place if you are NRG. Team Envy would really like to force them to use an ultimate just to get out of their own front doors, but it is a risky play. So Envy are going to back off to the objective, but Sharp, even giving up this space, he's only 15% away from that grab, and NRG with Byram on the Ana means that there will be no trans to counter.
And so the Nano is going to come through, so this is the biggest part for NRG. They need to make value out of this Nano, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Sharp getting that grab a little too late. Let's see if Team Envy are going to try to invest any more into this. The Nano is all NRG Esports needs, but this is going to set up this next fight to be quite the barn burner.
Yeah, Byram was forced to use that Nano onto stand one to keep him alive because he had been herded away by Team Envy into that hallway. Really interesting grab by Sharp, and Trill charges straight into the hiding hole on the bottom of Mondada's statue, which is not generally where you want to hang out as a Reinhardt. You and small spaces don't go very well together. And now Kevster has the perfect position for an EMP.
Yep, they don't have tabs on this Sombra right now, so no one's even looking back there. Usually you do see some like spraying with the D.Va or something, but we're not going to see that. Oh, there we go. So this is what we're talking about. So if you ever see a team like purposely like moving their laser or their D.Va around, that's why the EMP comes through with the Shatter. EMP Shatter is one of those combos that's been around forever. Crimso forced to use that Transcendence, which is going to give Mirror's grab, free opening. Even though Crimso gets this kill, this is still NRG Esports fight to lose. And it looks like that's exactly what they're gonna see. There was no Transcendence for that grab. They should have gotten more value out of their Graviton Surge, but Team Envy are stabilizing.
Byram, an excellent anti-nade right there. So the Transcendence could not save Trill, but so much to kill just one Reinhardt. Elivo is going to be hacked now, though, but manages to escape to the safety of the team. Smack's hoping that these shields will be enough to buy a little bit more space for NRG, but Team Envy simply retreat until those overshields go down, and then they're going to re-engage, potentially with Trill's Earth Shatter.
Nice stuff coming from Team Envy, not freak out. NRG Esports really wanted to take that fight. The Earth Shatter's only knocking Byram in the backline, who has the Nano. Sound Barrier going to be coming through as well, keeping NRG Esports nice and alive. Team Envy only has the Rally, and they don't have any other cooldowns. That's a 5-6-man EMP coming in from Kevster, but we still haven't seen the casualties just yet. Now we will. Jaru's on the ground. The Ally Bear is only going to help so much that Team Envy will be falling on this defensive fight.
NRG, though, down to their last ultimate is just Mirror's grab, while Envy are holding on to 3. Not for lack of trying to use them. It was a really good EMP by Kevster to set up that one fight for NRG. Although I do want to give props to Fire, riding on those walls, going for the boop, trying to boop stand one's shield out of the way to allow for Trill's Earth Shatter to come through. So Envy, trying to get a little bit fancy here. Maybe just the grab is all you need because NRG have no support ults.
And the grab is what we're going to see to start things off. The Transcendence is through. Team Envy are in a super defensible position right now, and they saved the Sound Barrier, which is great for them. NRG Esports is going to have to try to grab the second point, but they do have 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
Crimzo actually popped the trance in that fight, maybe expecting an EMP to come through from Kevster, so preemptively popping that, not necessary for Team Envy to win that fight, which also now means that when Kevster does come into that EMP, he knows exactly which ultimates will still be online for Envy. Fire will have that sound barrier, but if he drops it first, Kevster can erase all of those shields with a single button press, or hey, Poison Frog fights back. What a way to win a defense.
Wonderful stuff. Fire, we talked about it before, he's probably one of the more aggressive Lucios we see in Contenders. Definitely
a fragger.
His hero damage is pretty top-notch as well, but the thing about Fire is he's not afraid to get into the face of Kevster's Sombra, and actually Lucio is a great person to keep that Sombra in check. If you know where the Sombra is, you can hide yourself. You can move your team around in a nice way. Northside coming from Trill is going to be a big one. 3 kills for Team Envy. They know how not to freak out in these situations, and that's the maturity that they've showed and grown throughout this season.
Exactly. This roster has been together, most of this roster has been together for over a season now, coming from 2018. So this is definitely a very synergized team. They know how their teammates play, what to expect, even through, you don't have to be communicating verbally necessarily, but you just get that second sense. But Kevster will now have this EMP, and at 60 seconds left, it's gotta be a big one.
Is how the supports deal with it. Both supports avoid the EMPs. The Transcendent and the Sound Barrier are both available for Team Envy. So that EMP is a wash. You need to get those support ultimates out of the way, and Crimzo not even needing to use the trance.
Yeah, Byram, though, will still have that nano. Envy won that fight almost so cleanly that NRG will have another chance to re-engage. Really good reactive play from Ellie-Vote. EMP comes in, everybody from NRG is surging forward, trying to capitalize. How can you hold him back? Zone him with a self-destruct.
NRG Esports really needs something to happen for them right here. The EMP wasn't that, so now they're putting all of their hopes on this grab and this nano. If they're able to nano stand one, he can keep up in this fight. It's the only Transcendence. The Transcendence at times has been enough. Let's see how NRG Esports goes through here. They are going to go ahead and use the nano on stand one. That means he's going to be beefier on beefier, right? More HP, more damage, and a DMAC coming in for NRG Esports. The Earth Shatter is going to knock a couple members on the ground. NRG Esports actually looking like they are going to be grabbing this second point, unless Team Envy are going to be able to overcome this man disadvantage, which they're starting to do. Sharp getting that kill on to Next means that Team Envy are not out of this yet. And Ellie, they'll get back into the mech, so that beef is still back for Team Envy. They've got everything that they need. The EMP, though, could stop them in their tracks, and now NRG Esports needing to use everything at their disposal to actually break through here, and it's still not technically over, but they will be grabbing the second point in the nick of time.
Yeah, Kevster, even though things were looking dire for NRG, still doing his darndest, working up towards that EMP, and the Sombra ultimate is not often an ult that we think of as a win more type of ultimate. We don't often throw it out reactively, but in this case, Team Envy, there was so much chaos. Nobody was really able to, expend any energy to keep tabs on Kevster, so that EMP found huge dividends. Everybody from Envy was already so low, very easy for the remaining members of NRG to clean up.
And so Kevster going to translate back to the team, get caught into the grab. That could prove to be a bad decision. They're able to get that good bio grenade coming in from Byron. This Anna giving Team Envy some fits.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but good prioritization too. Throws it onto Mirror instead of Stand 1. Gets that Zarya not only closer to the grab, but Mirror, you see him glowing with the power of 1,000 suns. Zarya is your primary damage dealer in this GOAT's composition, and that nano makes her not just beefier, but that much more deadly.
But how deadly can you maintain this, right? If NRG Esports, they need this EMP, and they are going to get it. Crimzo going to be able to use that trans, and unfortunately, Mirror doesn't have that Graviton Surge, and you really, when you force out that trans, it's really good to combo that with the grab. Right after, Earthshatter going to be blocked by Stand 1. Good flick of the shield for NRG Esports there. Trill is going to get hacked. Ellie-Vote is going to get D-Max, so this defense is actually looking a little squirrely for Team Envy right now. They need to find a pick. The sound barrier might be enough, especially since Stand 1 is going to Earthshatter right into Trill's shield. There's only 11 seconds left for NRG, so if they don't win it here, they're going to lose this round and go down 0-2 against Team Envy. You get a pick onto Trill, but the spawns are definitely for Team Envy, and Trill is not going to fall victim to the overtime spawn. Everyone else will, and Ellie, though, coming back to the kill, sailing Team Envy out, and now we're going to see a react of, Kepster using this EMP in the middle of the fight. You said it yourself, that usually means the EMP is going to find nothing, and that's exactly what happens. NRG Esports showing some life, showing some energy, but Team Envy knowing exactly to do in that situation.
This is super heartening for Team Envy because we were just talking about it in the 2 earlier games of today. Defenses have been very, very hard to find throughout NA Contenders all season, but Envy able to put a stop to the cart before, that map completion, which is very difficult to do these days, even on King's Row. Kevster, at that very last fight, you can see the objective, throws out that EMP, but doesn't catch Crimzo. We really got to give a lot of credit to the backline of Team Envy as well. They always seem to not only be, aware of kind of those moments where we might be able to go in and get a boop and try and make a play, but they keep an appropriate amount of distance away from the biggest threats of NRG. Every time the EMP comes through, it feels like Crimzo is ready with that transcendence. He himself never gets caught by that ability. And unfortunately, since the EMP didn't end up working for NRG, Kevster was essentially out of the fight, right? Again, a 5v6. Sombra does, she has a 60 bullet clip. It's pretty big, but she's not really a pure damage dealer in that sense. You really want to be using her for her EMPs, that utility with the hack. EMP didn't work, then you gotta look at a very long, drawn out fight to get that ultimate again. And that was time and space NRG couldn't afford.
Well, let's not, forget Fire getting the 1v1 as well onto Kevster. And they did such a great job dealing with the Sombra. And that's something that we haven't really seen on a lot of teams so far, being able to consistently deal with the Sombra. And while they were falling victim to 6-man EMPs, 5-man EMPs, they kind of just, relegated themselves to be like, we're going to get EMP'd. Everything after is what matters.
Exactly.
So, and they did a really good job at figuring out what happens after that EMP. But let's figure out what's going to happen after halftime as well, as Team Envy are up 2-0 against NRG Esports. We'll be back soon.